Hey everybody, this is Mattie here with Altcoin Buzz. Hope you're having a very fine day today. We're going to take a look at a few news stories. We're doing a big follow-up to yesterday's major news story, which was the CBOE that applied for a Bitcoin ETF license with the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States. So Alicia has done a great job here of summarizing that and adding some very important contextual details that relate to some of the partnerships that are involved in that news story. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at a follow-up story by Garrett about the Robinhood app, which has announced buy and sell support for both Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. We're taking a look at a final update by Ethos. So we've been following them and the rollout of their universal wallet. We'll take a quick look at what they have to say. But we're beginning here, as always, on altcoinbuzz.io with this article by Garrett. Trump creates a task force to fight financial crimes, including digital currency fraud. So while the rest of the world's eyes are keenly focused on Capitol Hill in Washington, because that's where you have the House Judiciary and Oversight Committee, they're having that hearing with FBI agent Peter Strzok. No, don't be fooled by that smokescreen. Here's the real news, right? As far as the crypto world is concerned, that's our job at altcoinbuzz.io, is to divert you to the stories that really matter. And this is potentially one of them, because this could have major implications in the world of crypto. I would think that they would skew towards the positive as far as what the consequences are. But let's discuss it, and I'd be very happy to hear your thoughts about this in the comments, because I think this is going to generate potentially some controversy. And the point here is not to get political, guys, but it's to alert you to this executive order that's been released, and it's something that is important to cover. So we're going to do just that. United States President Donald Trump has signed an executive order which orders the Department of Justice to create a task force focusing on the integrity of the financial market. This EO specifically mentions digital currency as an area to be investigated, and the text from the executive order reads as follows. So we're going to skip ahead to the executive order itself, section 4 specifically, and here it is, by the way. Executive order regarding the establishment of the Task Force on Market Integrity and Consumer Fraud, released July 11th, 2018. So skipping ahead, there's a whole bunch of sections here that I would encourage you guys to check out if you're so inclined. But section 4, functions. Consistent with the authorities assigned to the Attorney General by law and other applicable law, the task force shall provide guidance for the investigation and prosecution of cases involving fraud on the government, the financial markets, and consumers, including cyber fraud and other fraud targeting the elderly, service members and veterans, and other members of the public, procurement and grant fraud, securities and commodities fraud, as well as other corporate fraud, with particular attention to fraud affecting the general public, digital currency fraud, money laundering, including the recovery of proceeds, healthcare fraud, tax fraud, and other financial crimes. So quite a comprehensive list there, as you guys can see. But, digital, cyber fraud, money laundering, those words are mentioned quite a few times. So this new task force, writes Garrett, replaces the Financial Fraud Enforcement Task Force that was created under the Obama administration. Regulation continues to be a significant threat to this asset class. If this new task force finds any significant wrongdoing on the part of digital currency, the negative implications could be immense. But on the contrary, if digital currency is not found to be a threat, the asset class could become further legitimized. Many people are on the sidelines waiting to hear an official stance on this matter from the US, and it looks like a decision may not be far away. So again, guys, not to sound partisan or anything like that. This is not about a political opinion, but this EO could have some major implications in the world of cybersecurity, in the world of cyber fraud. And I don't think it's reasonable to assume that any government, whether it's this government or any government, I think in general, government is too incompetent to be able to micromanage all of the different scams, all of the different criminal activities that are happening in the cyber world. But to be able to have this, right, and to be able to point to a piece of legislation and say as a deterrent, like, we're going to come down hard on you if you're caught. We're going to make an effort to make sure that, we crack down on those individuals that are engaging in such activities. I think that's a good step forward. So let's see what happens. First, we had the Space Force, and now we have the Digital Cyber Fraud Task Force, or at least that's a part of this task force. So always an interesting thing to tune in and see what the administration here is doing in the U.S. Let us know your thoughts about this, guys. An executive order that really spells out in certain clear terms the fact that criminals engaging in cyber fraud, in money laundering, in digital currency fraud, the hammer is going to come down hard on them. So I think that's a good precedent to set. Let's see what happens. Let's see how competent they are as far as enforcement. But this is one I'm going to love to hear your comments below on, guys. So do be sure to sound off in the comments below with your opinion. In other news here by Alicia, has a crypto game changer finally arrived? So this relates to yesterday's major news story. Check out yesterday's video if you haven't already. It relates to this story. But the Chicago Board Options Exchange Global Markets has issued yet another request to get a license for Bitcoin ETFs from the Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC in the United States. The exchange has partnered with Van Eyck Investment and SolidX and will offer clients to buy shares in SolidX, currently worth close to 25 Bitcoin. This begs the question, are we about to witness a game-changing point in the history of crypto markets? So guys, as you may recall, an important precedent was set by virtue of the fact that you had Bitcoin and Ethereum, and both of those were categorized as non-securities by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So that's kind of the context that we're talking about here. So that's one important variable. And then you have another important variable, which is that increasingly you have the crypto world, which is beginning to merge with the world of stock markets. Of course, there's been all kinds of institutional interest expressed by the New York Stock Exchange, by NASDAQ. You've had these Bitcoin trading desks that have been, behind the scenes being set up by Goldman Sachs, that kind of thing. Banks are getting interested. And then as Alicia writes here, you have a recent example is the Swiss Stock Market Exchange, which is working on a digital asset ecosystem. So the SIX Digital Exchange, SDX, which will be a regulated market just like traditional financial ones. So that's pretty important. And what's great to see here is that the SEC has already published an application which invites the public to comment on the matter. So we're talking about whether or not Bitcoin should be granted ETF status. So far, more than 100 comments are available on the site, and the tentative date of the SEC's decision is the 10th of August or the 24th of September if deliberations are postponed. Let's take a quick look at the SEC here. So this is the filing that was issued, of course, the application for a Bitcoin ETF by the CBOE to the Securities and Exchange Commission. But let's take a quick look at what Alicia is talking about here as far as comments on this recent development with the CBOE. So here's the latest comment, June 11th by Emery Gultekin. So what does Emery have to say? SEC should approve Bitcoin ETF because USA is the freedom's country. Hard to argue with that. So if you are so inclined, I think you can go to the SEC website and comment yourself. Why not? So the CEO of Van Eyck, Jan Van Eyck, notes, quote, "We believe that collectively we will build something that may be better than other constructs currently making their way through the regulatory process. A properly constructed, physically backed Bitcoin ETF will be designed to provide exposure to the price of Bitcoin, and an insurance component will help protect shareholders against the operational risk of sourcing and holding Bitcoin." Okay, and let us know your thoughts about that. Van Eyck is a nice partner to have on board here. And as Alicia writes at the end, if the CBOE proposal does go through, then the Bitcoin ETF will be available to investors in the first quarter of 2019. And again, remember that we expect a decision to come out on the 10th of August. If it doesn't, then it's going to be postponed until September. By the way, guys, if you want to learn more about what we discussed, Switzerland's SIX stock market, this is another article by Alicia from about a week ago, Switzerland to create the first official digital asset exchange. Do be sure to check that out if you're not up to speed on that particular story. Finally, today, an article by Garrett. Robinhood adds support for Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Robinhood Crypto has just added support for buying and selling Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. Don't mean to spend too much time on this, guys, because we did cover it yesterday. But if you are a user of Robinhood, that's big news. If you're a fan of Litecoin or Bitcoin Cash, as I am, I'm a fan of both of those. And this is also really good news. So this is basically something now that allows Robinhood to approach the status of like a Coinbase, because now all of a sudden they have Bitcoin, they have Ethereum, they've added Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash. So those are the same 4 offerings that are on the table for Coinbase. And Robinhood also lets its users track all kinds of different projects as well, in addition to those 4. So these are the 12 projects that you can actually track while using the Robinhood platform. And there's a list of states here that you can legally use Robinhood's crypto trading services in. So they are the following. Let you read through that. Hopefully you guys are in one of those states. If not, don't fret. I believe that they are planning to expand their service offering very soon. When Robinhood Crypto initially released, the only states that had access to the crypto trading services were California, Massachusetts, Missouri, Montana, and New Hampshire. So as you can see, they've expanded very substantially in a relatively short period of time, and I have no reason to believe that they're going to stop that expansion anytime soon. Let us know your thoughts about this development with Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash, and in general, your thoughts about Robinhood. So you can read about that here from yesterday. Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash now on Robinhood Crypto. Check out their website as well. Check out their platform. It is a good one. I mean, I wish it were available in more areas of the world, more areas of the country, let alone the world. But I think it's going to get to your neck of the woods soon if you're not currently able to use it. So do check them out. They're doing good work. And finally today, guys, just a final update on ethos.io, which we've been tracking. So their universal wallet has been rolled out in all kinds of different countries. They had a rollout the other day universally on Android. And now with this tweet, Ethos, we're thrilled to announce the official iOS release of the universal wallet in the Apple App Store across the globe. Download the app on your Android or iOS device and discover a simple way to crypto. So if you're a fan of Ethos, if you're a fan of a universal wallet that they've put out, or just in general universal wallet functionality, this is something you may want to check out. And congratulations to our friends at Ethos for the rollout of their product. It's been a long time coming, and so far the reviews are quite positive. With that, guys, it's about all the news that we have to cover today. Make sure you're following Altcoin Buzz News on Twitter, because we're going to alert you to maybe there's going to be another force that comes up under the Trump presidency. We've had the Space Force, we've had the Digital Task Force. Who knows what's next? If you have an educated guess, be sure to sound off in the comments below. Check out our podcast, guys. They're coming along. We just had a great podcast with the founders of Turtlecoin. So that was a great project. That was a lot of fun to discuss. Do be sure to check out the Altcoin Buzz podcast channel, either on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, or Pippa. And of course, we're going to alert you to all kinds of news and events as they develop. So do make sure you're following. If you like this video, guys, please leave us a thumbs up, leave us a like, make sure you're subscribed. We have new content coming out every day, as you know, and we will see you again soon in a new video. Take care, everyone. Have a great day.